Segum, Skanagoa. Again, I offer you great peace. In the past weeks, we've been talking a lot of many things that relate to Indian culture, specifically Iroquois and Mohawk culture. At this time, I'd like to review some of those things, and I brought along a sculptor which identifies specific items that I'd like to talk to you about at this time. As you have heard in the past, in some of the programs, the earth came into being on the back of a turtle. And here we have a turtle made in the form of a rattle, and that is to signify the music and harmony of nature. If you'll recall, it was explained to you that a woman landed on the back of a turtle and she caused trees and plants to grow. And around this earth there were some creatures that existed. Now, the earth as it exists today is being used still by the Indian people, and they express their thinking through many of the teachings of our forefathers. For instance, who are the spirits that have power over the earth? Who are the spirits that live on the rim of the earth? We turn the sculptor around and we find the false-faced people. The false-faced people, who were creatures that lived on the rim of the earth, were appointed at some point in time by the Creator to maintain the balance of nature, to maintain the peace and health of the people and the plants and the animals that live on this earth. These people, as you know, again, in the distant past, transferred their power to some men, and some men carve a mask which represents these creatures out of a live tree and use these in ceremonies to cure people, to maintain health, to get rid of evil, to purify ceremonies and houses and so forth. And consequently, we still have in our midst today the existence of the faith society. This faith society is assisted by people who we call the husk society, made from corn husks. This leads us to our next item, which is a result of the creation of the earth, the development of the plants which feed the people, feed the air with oxygen and so forth. Here we have the corn, we have the gourd, and here we have the beans. So we have these three plants that help to provide the existence of the people. And I brought some things around that show you just an example, some of the uses, for instance, of the corn husk. We have here a little Indian drummer and singer, Mohawk or Iroquois, as you can tell by the drum. This is a water drum, miniature water drum, and the baton, and he has three feathers signifying that he is Mohawk. And he plays his music, and with that music we bring in an Indian dancer, again made out of corn husks, and he happens to be doing a hoop dance, and a hoop dance which was developed by mainly the Western Indians, but adopted by many Indians, because the hoop signifies the continuation of life, or the circle of life. And there are some dancers that go up to, use up to 28, and I've seen 35 hoops used. But specifically, this is made from corn husks. From that, who is the keeper of most of these things. We have the three sisters, we have the false face society or the face society coming from the creation of the earth with the turtle rattle as harmony. We have next our women, the women of the nation or the woman of the confederacy. And here it's symbolized by a carving of a clan mother that is normally or usually the eldest, most healthy woman of the nation, who leads all the other women to use the corn, to make use of it, to create accessories such as dolls, clothing. With the corn, many items were made, masks, dolls, moccasins, items for ceremonies. With the gourd here, were made rattles. Of course, it was eaten also. The interior were eaten. And gourd is, I guess, squash in English. And they used it to carry water. They used it to carry medicine. So it provided many uses. The use of beans was, of course, as a food. The pods were used again as decorations and in ceremonies, and the interior, the beans themselves, were, besides being eaten, were used in games and to keep count of various items that were being counted. It's almost, I would say, similar to the Chinese counter. And then, of course, the women had a big responsibility within the nation because they were always around children, and I think we explained this before. They were responsible for the selection of leaders, selection of representatives of the people. They saw the children growing up from a young age. They saw what they could do physically. They saw what they could do mentally, morally, and consequently the people feel that they are the ones that should be able to choose a leader, and consequently the women had the right to choose the chief. And normally the meeting was convened by the clan mother, the eldest of the nation. So here we have that represented. So again, it's as a result of the creation, you have the spirits, you have the life, plant life, the natural life, the trees and so forth. Then you have the human beings that come into play. And all this stays into existence because of the power of our brother, the sun. The sun, as you know, gives the earth energy, gives the plants energy, gives the person's energy, and a lot of respect is given to the sun because it is the people, the person that keeps track of time, keeps the cycles, the seasons, and of course, as I've said so often, provides the energy to the people. And from that sun derives a strength, which is the fire. The fire is very important in all Indian cultures, Indian ideologies, because it is a symbol of strength and the strength of nature. The fire is used to burn the tobacco that makes the smoke that rises up to the Creator, and to reinforce the words of meetings, to solidify unions between people. As we have explained in the past, an example of this is that within the Iroquois or Mohawk nation, when a meeting takes place, first a fire is lit, and to the right of that fire sits the Bear clan, and then to the left sits the Wolf clan, and then in the middle sits the Turtle clan. An item to be discussed is discussed by the Wolf clan, and when it's agreed to, it's passed over the fire for purification. It goes to the Bear clan, and when the Bear clan discusses it, passes it back over the fire, gives it to the Turtle clan, and when it's thoroughly discussed, it goes back to the people, always over the fire, into which tobacco is placed so that smoke rises, touches the words of the people, and brings them to the Creator for verification. And therefore, the fire plays an important part in all ceremonies relative to Indian people. After all this has been taken and understood over the centuries, unfortunately, people don't always agree with each other, and we have conflicts with each other. We have disputes over territory, we have disputes over laws, we have disputes over regulations, we have disputes over population, we have disputes for very unimportant things in the eyes of the Creator. And every once in a while, someone comes and says, you got to stop all this, and we got to start working together, and we got to do something. And something like this did happen within the Indian peoples, which have become known as the Iroquois or Six Nations people. And when this thing happened, it was registered on a wampum belt, and they called that the Six Nations belt. Now, I'll go back and tell you a little bit of how that happened. There were these small nations, the Mohawks, the Onondaga, Cayuga, who lived close to each other, and they used to fight with each other and dispute over land, dispute over hunting territories, dispute over water. And then they used to be attacked by other nations, larger nations, who wanted their lands, wanted their water, wanted their animals, wanted their plants. And finally a man came and said, we have to stop this, we have to get together. And he went around over many years visiting the various nations and saying, we got to stop all this. And finally he did succeed, and he did form a union, a confederacy, which a lot of people consider the first United Nations in the world, if not in North America. He unified the 5 nations of Indian people who were originally at war with each other. And because they used shells to record their history, they recorded it on wampum shells, and this part was purple and these parts were white, and there were 5 originally squares leading up to the heart of the nation and attached together, and this became to be known as the 5 Nations Confederacy, and eventually the 6 Nations Confederacy, of which the Mohawk people that I belong play an important part of. And with that, I'd like to just say I hope I gave you a good resume of some of the things that we discussed in the past, and give you an idea of some of the things that motivate our people to continue to exist in the spirit of our forefathers. It is by teaching this to our children and getting them to realize this harmony and peace with nature and peace with each other that we hope eventually to evolve as a peaceful and unified people. Thank you very much.